This is your host,
Anthony Ellis.
As I continue from August 1, 1985, for the first time when I heard of the birth of my son, I cannot tell you how happy I was. I cannot tell you how happy. But for those of you who already have children, you deeply understand. And as I continue conversation with my wife, I told her, please, I'm so happy about my son, I don't know where to start. I like to touch him, but unfortunately, I have the distance between us because we were in two different countries. So I advise her, don't bring the child to see me until he is mature enough to travel, at least 2 to 3 months. So I say, you can come down October or November. Okay, I'll send you a ticket. And of course I did. Anyway, when grandmother and my wife and my son arrived, it was a glorious day for me, and even to hold him for the first time. He was very tall. When I put his head on my shoulder, his feet touched me on my belt, and I'm 6 feet tall, so you know what I'm saying. And that day, that minute at the airport, I said, I'm going to try to work as hard as I can. I got my hand in his back, rubbing his back and, pampering him. I think that's the word that ladies use. Because, of course, he's my first son. So, his grandmother was there. She wasn't in the best of health. She seems as if she was going downhill. Once we're in the car, we all get in the car. And again, like a year back or so, she said the same thing, that she's so happy to be in Jamaica. I can tell you, Jamaica is a glorious place. It's a place where once your feet touch the soil, you will be happy. There is no stress, despite the fact that people have financial difficulty and all that. That's the world cry. But there's something about Jamaica that make you feel like you have to be there to understand what I'm saying. We are just like free people, So while she was in my mother-in-law, grandmother, she was in the car, she said, she looked upon the hills, and she said, I'm so happy to be in Jamaica when we reached this part of the road that called Tap Road. And she said, if I die, I want to die in Jamaica. And again, I reiterate to her, do not think of dying, think of life. You got a grandson, you got me, you got your daughter. I didn't know any other relatives that she had, except just the two of them, myself and my son, and her grandson. So, it so happened that I was living at a cottage in Hanover. So once my wife came, then I had to move up to their house. And I was there for about 2 to about 3 weeks. Yes. And we traveled back and forth to the cottage. And I left my wife at the cottage and I went to work actually. But when I was at work, it's like something kept telling me to go home. And when I go home, I reach home, I hear crying in the home that I stay, in the lake. and the beach. Sorry. Once I went there, opened the door, I saw mother and son was crying. And I was like, I never see a mother and a child cry before. So I'm trying to get used to both of them. So I asked her, what happened to the baby? She said she don't know. Did you give the baby a shower? Yes. Did you feed the baby? Yes, but he doesn't want to eat. Did you change the baby? Yes. Okay, I said, okay, it's okay, give me my son. I took him and I tried to hush him, but he was still crying. And I'm saying, what happened to you? You can't even talk, I checked his pampers, he was dry. I checked his clothes, he was okay. He smelled good, so I know he took his shower. And then one man said to me, taste his food. So I taste his food. His feed in the bottle has absolutely no taste, because I understand the mother doesn't want to, make his food too sweet. So it was Milo. I believe it was Milo. It's a milky food. So anyway, I put a little bit of sugar inside. I give it to him. He started to drink. He finished the whole bottle within, a couple of seconds. No more tears. Once he finished that bottle, I make another one. He finished both of them. And I said, holy smoke. I laughed and I said to my wife, I said, I guess he doesn't want you to prepare his food. But anyway, next time you put a little bit more sugar inside and taste it first. So he never cried again. So from there forward, I could see the smile on his face bring great joy to my heart. Yes. Anyway, the 2 weeks was over. When the 2 weeks was over, mother and child has to return back home to Canada. And it's Sunday morning, while we were inside the house sleeping, maybe about 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, I hear a loud scream come from the mother room. I jump off the bed, like a soldier on guard, rush to the room. Mother seems to be in extreme distress. So I rush outside and I wake up some other relative that was sleeping in the house, and I said, we have to get a transportation, take her to the doctor. I don't know what the problem is. And I asked my wife to help her dress. And anyway, the vehicle come, they head off to the hospital with her. Maybe about 9 or 10 o'clock, my wife returned home with family member and said to me, her mom passed away. She was crying so much. I cannot tell you how I felt. I cannot tell you, because I've never been in the vicinity where a person, this kind of scream and take place and person just die like that, right? Apparently, maybe, she was telling God that she don't want to go back to Canada. And then that was the end of it. She passed away. Okay? And so right away, we start to make funeral arrangement. And can you imagine? She just have not her first grandchild, but she had her last grandchild. And I would say he's a first because I didn't know any other. So she just gone like that, leave her. And my wife then pointed out to me that mother said if she should die, she want to bury under, I believe it was a mango tree. So there was a tree below the house. So right away we call, we get somebody who come by actually saying they know how to build a vault. And I went out and I make all the arrangement. And I went to Montego Bay. I purchased a casket. My wife at the time was not working, so she couldn't make any form of provision herself. And all in all, it cost me a little over $17,000 to help bury her mother. And I encourage her. I say, you need to call your father, call your sisters, because you have other sister abroad, including her father. Unfortunately, I didn't know that she and her father was not in any good relationship. And so she reluctantly called her father. She didn't want to, but I said, you have to, because, your mother passed away, right? You need to have your father, and other relative in your life. And so that's how I encourage her. So she called her father. When her father came down, maybe a couple of days before the funeral, he came down for the first time. I met him, and he handed me, I told him how much the funeral arrangement cost. He handed me 500 Jamaican dollars and said, I didn't realize things were so expensive in Jamaica. So when I return to Canada, I'll send you money. And then right away, when the day of the funeral, he's asking, where's the limousine? Where's the limousine? I say, what limousine? We have minibus in Jamaica. We also have limousine, of course. But if you don't want to pay for limousine, you want to drive in limousine and don't pay for it, don't even pay for your wife's funeral. In my mind, that's what I said. Okay? However, this man was so upset. It's as if he didn't even acknowledge my son, but saying to his daughter, you need to leave the child here and come back with me to Canada. Come back with him to Canada. My wife then did not accept his advances. So eventually he returned to Canada by himself. And this is where I will end this video, and I will continue going forward. Thank you for listening. Thank you very much. Please continue to subscribe and search for my video. They are coming. And I can tell you, my father teaches me the 23rd Psalms, even though I walk through the valley and the shadow of death. He said, his rod and his staff is my comfort. Thank you very much.